Right now I'm going to be responding to the first question for the evaluation, which is how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? So first of all, just to get out there, the issue that I wanted to represent in my film, of course, apart from this, there's things like the representation of death and the loss of a loved one, but also really my main idea for the issue of my film was how humans affect the world, because that is a contemporary problem. Like, aside from all of my studies and everything, I'm a very environmentally aware person, and nowadays with all of the pollution, climate change, everything, realistically anything could happen. Like, I think I mentioned in my Wix that normally a zombie apocalypse is seen as something fictional that wouldn't happen, which is fair enough because it's never happened. And obviously the normal effects of things like climate change would be environmental effects like tsunamis, tornadoes, etc. But with all of the new weird things that us humans are creating and polluting the world with, my film is kind of saying like, well, you never know, even though it probably won't happen. So that's why I chose to use an alert. Like, the alert in the film of the girl finding out that there's a zombie apocalypse was simply just an alert talking about a chemical spill on a highway. But what I'm trying to say is, due to that chemical spill that should not be happening, like naturally it should not be happening, the zombie outbreak was caused due to that. So that was my actual issue for the film. And obviously it's a zombie film, so the conventions are normally like the same thing, death, etc. So now I'm going to go through some scenes of my film and show why they represent the conventions. So right from the start of the film, as was planned in my storyboard, the simple opening is diegetic sound. Like, there's a low hum in the back, but there's not any music or anything like that. And the reason why I've done this is so that you can hear the zombies moaning. So obviously a zombie moaning shows it's probably not, I mean, you never know, because nowadays with hybrid genre and everything, you never know what to expect even in the film industry, but most probably it's going to be a film about zombies. So hearing these zombies moan, and as soon as it's opening up on a zombie eating, so you know it's going to be a zombie film basically. And then it looks up and it shows a lot of other zombies. So obviously part of my planning and production of this film was of course also making the clothes. So obviously a very known genre convention in a zombie film is that the zombies are most likely going to be covered in blood, and this blood is probably not theirs. It may be from when they weren't a zombie yet and they got killed, but it is most probably from other people that they have bitten or eaten. So that's where it starts off. So straight after that, I move into the still shots, which I also had planned to do, because I always thought that it would be important for me to do that, to show that where these zombies were, like in this situation of a zombie apocalypse, it is isolated. Like, because obviously if there was a real zombie apocalypse, right at the start, there's a lot of chaos, etc. But I can't get a whole city to run around and scream in the middle of the street. So I thought it would be a better idea to base it after the zombie apocalypse already started. So here I did add in now music, and this music, I was inspired from films like The Hunger Games and stuff. In like important, maybe sad, mysterious moments, I feel like the use of female vocals, I don't know why, it was kind of like a feeling that I got towards it. I feel like it really, how would you say, really this music, in this type of situation, in this scene where I'm showing this isolated place after showing some zombies, I wouldn't put upbeat pop and I wouldn't put rock on. It needed something. That's why I thought these female vocals would be the perfect choice, because it needed something calm, but at the same time mysterious. So I chose to use that to kind of portray these feelings towards this situation. So then it goes into still shots, which show no one. Some of them are dark, and then they get light. And some people, kind of like when I've done little focus groups with people, they've told me that it's a bit of an abrupt change from dark to light, because a lot of the still shots were filmed at night and then other ones in the day. But I wanted to show that at all moments of time, this is an isolated place. You can't run off somewhere and find someone. This place is empty now. The streets are empty. So it's kind of giving even more that feeling of death. Like, no matter if you go into the city and it's night, or if you go over here, or if you go over there, you're just going to find zombies. But then obviously 2 survivors do come into the film, but it's kind of maximizing the feeling of loneliness here. And I made sure there was no artificial lights, except for in one scene there is, if you actually focus, there's a light flickering, because in these situations normally all of the electricity goes out, but maybe some things have got malfunctions, and that's what's going on. Now, as I'd planned, I wanted to make sure bringing in the humans into the scene wouldn't just be abrupt. So I wanted to make sure it connected with the still shot. So from the still shot, then there's a still shot of the ground, and then in comes the person walking and picks up the flower. So this isn't such, and in my opinion, isn't such an important scene. It's just starting off what's going to happen. But I do feel like that flower that this person picked up, I mean, normally if you're walking around in a zombie apocalypse, maybe you wouldn't be stopping and picking flowers. You'd be more about worrying about your life. So that's why I wanted to add in this flower as some sort of symbol of hope. This person who's walking around in this situation with this toll on them, who knows who they've lost, what they've had to go through, what they've had to do. Picking up this flower is showing a symbol of hope. and maybe new opportunity. And then straight after the flower is picked up, a zombie comes in from behind and bites their neck. And this is showing that in this situation, this is showing that it's not going to be a nice film. It's not going to be a nice dilly-dally where everybody's in a zombie apocalypse and then they all have fun and they kill all of the zombies and that's that. It's showing that this is reality in this moment. It's the people who are in this moment, the actors, do not have time to have a nice little moment together. It's all about survival and being aware of your surroundings. So having this hope and picking up that flower cost this person's life. Now, once the second character comes in, living character, after hearing their partner or friend, or that's what the audience wants to take out of the situation, whoever it is, after hearing them getting bit, obviously once they turn around, it shows them getting the gun, and I went straight into a point of view shot, and I also put thought into what these human characters were wearing. So I feel like the tattoo on this arm is a convention for zombie films, because I feel like normally there is typical characters in zombie films. Of course, I didn't make a film where it had a lot of survivors, but there's normally the stupid one who messes something up. There's the really strong leader who's covered in tattoos, knows how to use a gun, etc. So I wanted this one who went to save the other one to have this tattoo, to have these scars on their arms, but they were alive. This means these injuries on the body and these tattoos of past also strong experiences. I wanted to make sure it's shown that this character is stronger than the other one, because the other one died from having a glimpse of hope and this one survives by doing what they need to do. So then the rest of the film carries on, etc. Here, of course, this character gets out a gun, which a gun is a convention, a genre convention of a zombie film: death, fights, battle. Also, the one who didn't survive did also have a bat with what's that called? Wait a minute. A bat covered in barbed wire in their hand, but it doesn't really show much in the film because obviously they don't do much with it because they drop dead, basically. So here, the use of the gun, the gunshots, the blood, it's all genre conventions for a zombie film. Going back to what I said before about this other stronger character doing what they need to do, it goes into where the one who got bit falls to the ground, etc., and then wakes up as a zombie. And I made sure to show this so it shows them getting dizzy. They fall to the ground and they close their eyes. And then it just, instead of showing them slowly waking up and being all happy, it just shows it going straight into me. Well, yeah, me because I was the character, but the character shaking them, trying to wake them up. And now we can see that their vision is partly red. So I put red like over the screen so that we could differentiate basically between the point of view of a zombie and the point of view of a human. Here they're seeing in red. Red is normally a very used genre conventional colour to represent death and blood and violence, because also even some people say, I'm seeing in red. When you're seeing in red, you want to do something bad. So this zombie has woken up and they are seeing in red. So here, the other character who's trying to help them sees, right, look, there's no way of saving this person now. They tried to strangle me. Goes straight, shoots in the head, dead. And so connecting to what I said about the zombie waking up and seeing in red, I kind of used this from inspiration from my research and planning on transitions that I was going to use. Whilst I was doing research, I watched a video about different types of transitions, and it mentioned the white fade in. And the white fade in, they said, is usually maybe used when someone in the film wakes up from a dream or something, or they were imagining something and then they get back to real life. So instead of using a white one, I used a red one, showing that now the way they've woken up and came back to reality is in red. Instead of just coming out of a dream, they've actually changed. They're actually a whole new, not even person, like they're dead now, basically. So just want to add in that the location of where I used, I always knew that I wanted to do it on some sort of wasteland, because on this wasteland, it once again goes back to the idea of loneliness. You're not, even if I was videoing the city, even if there was no one there, cars are still parked, there's signs of human population, even if they're dead. Whereas in this wasteland now, it's showing that the zombies have left the city, because there may not even be any humans left in the city to eat. It's showing that they have done a lot of stuff, because if these zombies were previously humans, they didn't just go out one day and be on the wasteland. So they'd got there. And this could even be showing that they were hunting these survivors, because these survivors were obviously out on the wasteland to get away from the packed city, because the packed city would be where the zombies originally were at the start of the outbreak. So this could even bring in a sense of stalking. These zombies are not as stupid as they seem. They can see these humans in the wasteland and they've ended up there with them too. But the real proper idea is just showing it's dirty, it's muddy, it's windy, it's not clean, there's no shelter. These survivors don't have a shack to live under, they don't have any water. It's a very remote place. Now, as soon as we get into the next scene where the shot was, the zombie was killed, the one on the floor was killed, boom, black screen, and it goes straight into the TV, showing that this was a film that someone had been watching, so it wasn't reality. As soon as we go in, apart from any diegetic sound in the room, you can hear a continuous beep. And this continuous beep is the phone of the girl sitting on the sofa. And as that beep starts being more heard, because at the start, kind of in the chaos of the situation, you can't really hear the beep, the messages start popping up on the screen. And these messages popping up, a lot of them, not just one or two, starts to show urgency. There is urgency in the situation. And this girl doesn't know yet why yet. And also her phone is on the table and it's showing all of these notifications popping up. Now here I tried to work on a little mise-en-scene, because otherwise this scene would be quite just boring, just a girl sitting in her living room. So actually, if you may have noticed, on my storyboard, I originally put 2 girls, but I couldn't get another actor in the end. And also, instead of putting her on the chair, I thought, I'm going to make this more of a natural situation and actually a complete opposite kind of mise-en-scene or genre from what has just been happening. So instead of her just sitting on the sofa uncomfortably watching this film, I decided to make a mise-en-scene by putting open peanut butter jar, crisps, biscuits, a water bottle, all just laid out on the sofa. She's got blankets, she's warm, her animals are there. So I wanted to create this sense of comfort, of home in this mise-en-scene. So then when it gets to the next bit where she finds out that there's a zombie outside, there's a lot more of like a shock, kind of. Not necessarily a shock in the people viewing it, maybe, but a shock in the sense of the change of reality in 2 seconds, like a click of a finger. And that's kind of my whole idea of the film. Like, I wanted my film to show that from one moment to the next, you don't know what could be happening. But then right after this, her brother comes in, or whoever the audience wants to perceive this person by. Because also I felt like, as it's a zombie film, there's no need to go into detail about who these characters are. The most important thing I feel like in these zombie films is actually what's going on. So I feel like it would completely go against a zombie genre convention if I start saying, oh, this is the brother of this girl, oh, this is the lover of this survivor, because that is now, I feel like I will speak about this more when I'm talking about audience, because that is more of what the audience would want to perceive from this open situation that I'm giving them. So you never know who this person could be, but this person comes in, they've got the alert on their phone, and it's beeping, beeping, beeping. So it's once again a sense of urgency, it's a sense of problem, it's a sense of danger. Then there's a bang outside, which I also feel like is quite typical, like even in old original films like Scary Movie, which were actually hybrid genres between horror and comedy. It's very typical that it's like, oh, innocent, and then there's a sound, and then you go, and then you get killed. No? But that's why actually in the opening, I kind of wanted to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger, because obviously, realistically, for media, we just do the opening, and then the rest of the film would carry on. But I chose to put the title at the end for this, so there's kind of a pause, so the person who's watching is like, oh, what happens now? Like, what happens now? And this could be open to interpretation. Actually, just seeing that now there's a zombie at the door doesn't show you what's going to happen next. Maybe the person opens the door, maybe the zombie climbs in through the window, maybe there's another zombie already in the house, maybe they escape and they survive, you never know. So that's gonna, I'll speak about that more when I'm speaking about audience, what I'm going to say next. So here there's a bang outside, which once again shows danger, because especially by the girl reacting, obviously I know the acting isn't amazing, but it's the point I'm trying to bring across, which is important. The girl is shocked. And the boy, as well, as we were filming, I also put, well, I'll speak about the camera angles in a minute. The boy is breathing quite heavily, like they're both a bit worked up about the situation. After hearing this alert, then there's a bang outside, so there's danger. The boy goes to the door, and he's met with a zombie at the door, and that's where the opening ends. So all of them little things that I've kind of tried to work into my film the best as I could with the resources I've got is to represent these typical genre conventions of a zombie film, but also trying to change it a bit into my own idea instead of just having the same thing that every other zombie film would have. Also, as I just said, talking about camera angles, for example, in the scene where the boy goes in and shows the other girl the alert, I did a kind of oblique tilted angle, because when I was doing research about different camera angles and shots, etc., it said that this could be used in a scene of confusion, maybe of worry. So this is a kind of confusing situation for the characters here, because just from a normal day where the girl's sitting on the sofa, the boy's doing something around the house, now there's an alert. So I felt like it was a perfect situation to be filming kind of like tilted. But of course, I've used things like point of view shot and establishing shot. The establishing shot, I showed it right at the start, and it was important just to show what the situation is. And I will get more into why these things, what I want to talk about for audience, so for the next question. I also just want to add that there is also various different types of representation in my film, because as I said, my original idea is the human impact on what happens in our world. But also, just apart from that, with things that I've used, as for example, the strong character is actually a girl. So this could be representation of females, which I've put a lot of information in my research section for the representation of females, because I feel like in most of the films, females are underrepresented as a person of authority or strength. Obviously, as time goes on, the society changes, and with society changing, media changes. But it is still very typical for there to be a prince in armour who comes and saves the princess. So I challenged that convention here, and I represented a female in a strong way. And I also just wanted to mention the thing about the environment. I feel like that's hardly ever used. Like, I've seen very little films, if any, who actually base a lot of the reasoning of their film on the human pollution situation that we're going through. Like, a lot of films are based on problems from the human. A very interesting film I've seen is the one of Don't Look Up, which kind of shows society today. But it's not showing that because in that film, the difference between my film and that film is that in their film there's already an asteroid that's going to hit the Earth. So the humans didn't create that was already there. And then obviously the humans created the fact that everybody died because they couldn't bother to destroy this asteroid because they wanted to earn money out of it, which I also think is a very important take on a film. I thought it was very impactful, actually, because it looks so true. But my one is actually showing that the result, this bad result, like from that film, it would be the asteroid is actually created by the humans. It is the humans' fault that there is a zombie apocalypse because the humans are creating this chemical and this chemical has spilled. So I also thought, well, I might as well use something a bit different to base this zombie film on.